All right, we are live, it looks like here. Okay, how's it going, guys? The light's a little harsh. I'm gonna fix that real quick. All right, so just gonna make a video here real quick, and I was thinking about something lately, and thinking about how I feel like it's really hard for people to take advice, myself included. And so I'm not pointing fingers here, except for at myself and maybe the rest of us, because I think this is something that we all struggle with. And I'm wondering, why is it that it seems like so hard for us to take advice uh, in life in general, especially from people who, are either older than us or know more about certain things than us or have experiences that would be beneficial to us, to take their advice and say, well, that guy seems to be doing it all right. Why not take his advice? That whatever he's doing may be something that might be beneficial for me to do, especially if it isn't something that contradicts something to be right or wrong. Something to be right, or as long as it's something you can test and know that to be biblical advice, or something that is at least sound advice, and just at least give it a chance and try to test it to see if it is sound advice. Speaking of the Bible and talking about advice, the Bible would agree that you need to take advice. Proverbs 12:15, for instance, says in the King James Version, the way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that heareth or hearkeneth, I guess, unto counsel is wise. And to make that maybe slightly more simple, English Standard Version says it this way: the way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. Specifically, there's so many times probably that I could go back in my own mind and think about somebody who gave me advice that I didn't heed, and I regretted it later. I can think specifically about a friend who gave me advice about pursuing something that I wanted to do in life that I felt like was a far-fetched dream. And they were telling me that they thought it was attainable if I started out slow and did things in a measured way to reach that goal. But did I take that advice, especially then? Did I take that advice? No. What I did instead was dismiss his advice. And I said, in my head, not maybe I didn't do it specifically to his face, but in my head, I said, that's never going to work. That's not something that you can really do. And now this has been years later, and I definitely regret that, not taking that advice. Sometimes, though, it's frustrating when you don't take others' advice and then later on you realize that you should have. And it's also frustrating when you maybe think about trying to give advice, if you feel like you have some sort of advice that you could give that would be sound to someone else, and you either are maybe like, if they don't take your advice, maybe at best they say, well, I don't know, I don't think that's going to work for me. But at worst, they get upset at you, and think, why is this guy trying to give me advice? Because he knows everything about everything, And so again, I hope that isn't my reaction from when I get advice. And if it is, to anyone who has ever tried to give me advice, I apologize. And I would hope that we could all do better on taking some advice especially advice, that are from people who know more than us or older than us, or maybe have had a success in certain areas that we're looking for advice in. And I'm going to do another video here probably in a little while talking about some advice that I would like to get from people that I feel like I've been able to accomplish a particular goal, and now I'm looking for advice for the next thing, and I'm not sure where to go from there, and would like some advice in that department. So another thing I'll say, one last thing, is I think sometimes you can not take almost your own advice sometimes. If you have a gut feeling of like, this is what I should do, but instead you have all these, maybe norms of people telling you, well, you should do this or you should do that, and you have a gut feeling that that's not right, you should do something else. Maybe also be prayerful and read your Bible about, and make sure to consider some of the things that you might feel in your gut that are right for you, but you think, well, I can't do that, or I don't want to do that because everybody tells me that's a silly idea, or or I think that is not the prudent idea. You need to make sure that you're testing your own ideas about whatever it is you're supposed to do or you're not supposed to do, and make sure to figure out whether that is something that you actually should do. So that's another good example. Is I feel like, I don't know, I'm trying to remember how long it is. Probably about 13 years ago, I remember having a very specific thought of, hey, you know what? I think Amazon's going to be really big and people are really going to use Amazon a lot, and I think at that time, they were already using Amazon a lot, but not as much as today, obviously. And I thought to myself, if I wasn't a pansy, I would invest and figure out how to invest in Amazon. And that at that time, that was so long ago, I was like, I had no idea how to go about that. But if I had listened to myself, I think I would be much better off. But did I do that? No. I said, that's the silly idea, And obviously, I regret that now. But just if anybody wants to let me know, maybe in the comments or something like that, some sort of advice that somebody gave you that you felt like you either took and it really served you well, or advice that you did not take and you look back and regret. I think that would be an interesting thing to see. So you could, like I said, you could put that in the comments and let me know. And just thinking about this, I'm wondering what you guys think about how could we do better about, listening to people's advice and making sure to actually consider it rather than just being dismissive of someone's advice right away. So, all right. Talk to you guys later.